Awesome. And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Women with Vision and Purpose. It is Women's History Month. And you all know that we love celebrating, encouraging, and just uplifting one another. Today, I have a special guest here, Sherron Johnson, who is the co-founder of Star of Texas Hospice, who is joining us today. Welcome, Sherron.
Welcome and thank you, Shakita, for having me. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yes, thank you very much. And you know what? First off, you all, of course, I'm visionary. I always have to state my name, Shakita Davis, because everyone don't know who I am. And I always want to present myself. And thank you all for tuning in with us today. And today we're just going to relax and enjoy one another's company and just
Yes,
have a good time because this is our month. It is Women's History Month, and we are paving the way and dominating the entrepreneur world. Many may not
absolutely.
agree with us, but we are. And I just wanted a round of applause to all the women out there and future women in
Yay!
business. Congratulations. So,
Absolutely.
Sherron, I had the opportunity to meet you. And you know what? I have to say this. It's crazy how the backstory, how we met. Um,
Sure.
through your husband. I met
Yes,
your husband in the medical field
yes,
2017, 2018.
yes,
And he was, came to a job as a pharmaceutical rep. And then long time after that, recently, he came into my previous provider office
yes,
and we got connected and I was able to meet you. And
sure.
honestly, I'm very grateful. You have been a help. You have been in our previous Women with Vision and Purpose magazine where
Sure.
you were able to share your story. So I just want to say again, thank you.
It is absolutely my pleasure. And again, thank you for having me. Just a testament to you. You left an impact on my husband. He remembered you. And he says, she is just so sweet. You got to go and meet her. You got to go and talk to her. And I said, okay, I'm going. So absolutely, it is my pleasure. Thank you
That's
so much.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? You never know what impact you will leave or impression that you will leave on the visual. So I'm so grateful that we had the opportunity because you never know why you meet someone.
That
And
is
then
so true.
and
So
here we
true.
are today. I just want to say congratulations. I read your bio and the
Thank you.
updated bio of all the new things that has happened since the last time we spoke. And I know
Yes.
now that you are owner of SS National Real Estate Holdings as
Yes.
well, along with Star Texas Hospice.
Absolutely.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yes, Miss Sharon is doing big things. So I did circle some questions that I want to ask you here,
Okay.
and I am definitely going to save some of them because if you don't know, Miss Sharon will be one of our special guests at the Mimosa and Brunch that is happening on March 30th, where we would do a live Q&A session. So you
Yeah,
have to be there.
I'm
Make sure you
ready.
register online at www.vp.online. But for
Yes.
now, we're going to go right into it and just get some insight, get some nuggets from her to where she's going to be able to help you, encourage you, and just share her journey with you while she's been a woman in business. So my first question for you, Miss Sharon, could you share with our audience what initially inspired you to pursue a career in hospice care and how has the journey unfolded for you?
Okay. Initially, I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about the journey. Of course, I was at that point a divorced mother of three children that were all adolescents at the time. I have neighbors. Both of them were nurses. The wife was a hospice nurse. We were just kind of talking. Of course, when I was married, I was a stay-at-home mom. At this point, during the divorce, I had to go to work. And she said to me, I really think you should try hospice. Now, I was not a nurse at this time, so going into hospice, I would be marketing. She said, I really think you should try hospice. You will determine probably the first week if it's for you or if it's not. And I said, well, okay, well, I have to get a job first. So I'm willing to try. And she spoke with her administrator at the hospice that she worked at, which if you're from Houston, you would know it as Odyssey Hospice. I ended up interviewing and I did get the job for marketing, hospice marketing liaison, community liaison. And I knew the first week that hospice was for me.
Wow.
It was no turning back at that point. Um, After I worked in hospice, probably in marketing for about 2 years, the company that I originally started working with, they were bought out by a larger company. So the administrator at the company that I was working for referred me to the new owners, and they ended up hiring me as well in the Houston area. I was in Willowbrook. They ended up hiring me in Houston. And at this location is where I met Satavia, who is now my partner. What a lot of people don't know is Satavia was actually my boss at Odyssey Hospice. So I was, in my mind, as far as the hospice world, I was very new to hospice, very new in the position, a little over a year. And there are people that have been in hospice for years and years. I did meet Satavia. She was an amazing, just really, Satavia is a lot younger than me, but she came from an administrative role at another hospice, and she came as the director of the hospice that I was working at. She came in probably a week or so after I started there. So we developed a friendship over time. Around the time that I was there, probably a year later, I was accepted into nursing school. I resigned there, went to nursing school. And so that kind of, I could not work while I was in nursing school, so I didn't do anything for that year. After, just kind of thinking about it, while I was in nursing school, of course, I had 3 kids. I don't want to skip over the important parts. So I think the journey is what it's about.
Absolutely. Share the story with us.
So let me say this. I did not work while I was in nursing school. In the divorce, God spoke to me and said, do not fight for anything.
Wow.
Okay. The only thing that you ask for is the house. And the house is what I asked for. Over time, my attorney was saying, would you please, you are entitled to half of everything and then some. And I said, no, I don't want to do it. I didn't tell him, that God had already given me a piece about it. Mm-hmm. But I had already had insight on the fact that God is my source. I was not going to get into a situation with my ex-husband where I am just totally focused on, getting child support, getting my half, and him possibly trying to hide it. I didn't want to get wrapped up in that. Nothing wrong with getting child support. I needed it. In my brain, I wanted it. But I have to tell my story and how I went about it. God told me not to ask for it, and I had to stand on that. And I did that. And it's going to come full circle when I tell my story. So I'll say this. We got divorced a year later. I did keep the house. The house had a mortgage. He wasn't paying the mortgage. I wasn't working. I was in nursing school, and I was in nursing school for a year.
Wow.
So I did go to the Urban League downtown, and I told them my situation. I said, look, I have 3 kids. I have a mortgage. I'm getting a divorce, and I'm starting nursing school. I took them my letter to show them that I was actually starting nursing school. They wrote a letter to my mortgage company, which was Chase, and they would tell them, explain my story. And the gentleman there, I'll never forget his name. His name is David Slaughter. For the year, every quarter, I would have to bring him my grades. When I brought him my grades, he would send a letter to Chase to kick the can on the mortgage for another 90 days.
Wow.
So he did that for an entire year. So I did not have to pay mortgage for a year. So when I say things like favor sometimes is more important than money.
Absolutely.
If someone would have given me $10,000, it wouldn't have been enough to pay my $2,000 a month mortgage for an entire year. I needed this favor at that moment. fast forward, nursing school itself was paid for through grants and scholarships, so I was able to do that. I finished nursing school. In my last semester of nursing school, again, I was not working at this point. I received a phone call just because I had, been doing marketing with the other hospice. Of course, hospice is pretty small, so word kind of gets around. A director called me from another hospice and said, "Hey, are you looking for a job?" And I said, "Well, I'm in my last semester of nursing school. I'm really not, I have to get past this." And she said, "Well, we can work with you if you just continue, you can continue nursing school. We understand that you're going to be graduating pretty soon. We can work with you. We can still pay you a full-time salary, allow you to have your time off to go to school and study. And if you'll be willing to come on with us." And wow. I said, "Well, let me make sure you understand what, nursing school is my priority. I just about have it done. I want to make sure that you understand that." And they doubled down and said, "Yes, we want to hire you, move forward." So that happened. So while I was in nursing school, I did receive a nice salary. I was hired at that point. And I can say now, even with that position, I was hired by an African-American woman. And she, in my opinion, gave me an opportunity when I needed it the most. I can say that.
Wow.
After I graduated, she ended up transferring to another city. I got a job where I worked with Memorial Hermann for 7 years in their hospice. So I worked for them for 7 years. Satavia and I remained friends. We would go to lunch periodically. And this particular day, we had lunch at Grand Lux. And she asked me, "Have you ever considered opening in hospice?" And I was like, "No, I have not thought about it. I've been working. I'm a single mother. I did not have the money." But what I didn't do, which I'm very proud of now, is I didn't talk against it. I did say, "Let's talk to some consultants and see what they say." Now, in my mind, I wanted to say, which I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, "I don't know anybody. Every hospice that I've worked for is a huge nationwide company. I'm not sure," But I didn't talk against it. And I kept my mind open, and I knew enough not to speak negatively about it because it could have been an opportunity, and I wanted to be open to that. We talked to the consultants probably a week later, and they solidified our decision for us, basically by letting us know, look, this is done every day by investors that are not even nurses, that don't have hospice experience. You guys have an advantage because both of you are nurses, both of you have hospice experience. It would be a lot easier for you. And then you can save money because you can see some of the patients starting out.
Okay.
And another thing that, I think is important to share is we did not receive any Medicare funding at all for 2 years. So 2016, 2017, we were working, and when we got paid, we had to pay our staff for 2 years. We received funding starting, I think, February 2018. Wow. And it's been, work ever since.
The journey, you said a lot of information that really goes into my next question. And I just want to know, during that time frame and not knowing, or maybe the uncertain of things being taken care of, we have to have a sound voice for God, and we have to be in tune in the direction and instructions that he's telling us, because it's only going to get us to our next level. What if you didn't have your faith at the level that you did and trust God? You probably, honestly, you may or would not have been down this road. God strategically set you up, and he told you that he's going to take care of you. And I'm sure and know that he did far more beyond you ever thought that he was going to do for you during the circumstances.
Yes. Let me give you the full circle moment on the story. My ex-husband, unfortunately, ended up passing away in 2018 unexpectedly. So, what the Holy Spirit did bring to my remembrance, this is why I didn't want you to depend on him. Because he already knows our end before the beginning. He already knew the future. He already knew what was going to happen. If I were totally dependent upon my ex-husband for finances, for insurance, for those things to take care of me, to take care of the children, he's no longer here on this earth.
So imagine starting from ground zero after that, where you listen to God, and so I'm so grateful and glad that you did, because now you're in a position to where you are helping other individuals.
Absolutely.
And you are being a blessing to your family, to your community. So being a pioneer, and that's the things that I like to share, talk about into the podcast, because women go through so many challenges and things that people don't have any idea of how and why. But those challenges has allowed you to be here in the forefront, to share your story, to encourage someone. It doesn't matter what you look like. And honestly, as long as you have God and faith, you can get through anything.
That is so, so true. Really, it's so true. I cannot stress it enough. I don't think that I have, when you're just meeting someone, like when I met you, I didn't have time to tell you the whole story. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell you, yep, we have the hospice. We've been in business for, this is the 8th year. It's Satavia and I were 2 African-American women. When we started out, both of us were single mothers. Those are the things that you hit on. But there's so much about the process that you just have to unpack. And it takes time. But I think it's also beneficial for someone else that's possibly starting a business, so that if these things happen, or if you encounter this, or if you experience this, it's typical when you're starting a business. Don't quit, don't give up, keep going. You get past it. Your yes is out there. Just keep going.
Absolutely. Yes. And you know what? It's like fundamental, honestly, because one, as time went by and we stayed in touch, and I know I said this previously, we were trying to get you onto the podcast last year, but just our schedules wouldn't work out together. And correct. I'm grateful that now we're both in a place to where we can sit down and you can share your story. And when I asked you to share your story, you told me this one thing I'll never forget. And I don't know if you remember or not. You said, Shakita, I never told my story publicly, and I would love to share it on your platform. And absolutely. That meant the world to me, because the fact that you saw something inside of me and what I'm doing for women in the community, and for you to come on here and share your story really touched me. I don't know if you really know that or not, but I was like, oh my goodness.
I love it. Well, I also love the fact that you have a platform for women to be celebrated. I don't think we celebrate ourselves enough. And I just think it's, we do so much for so many people, right? That's what we do. And we don't take the time to say, man, look at all the things that I've done. Look at all the things that I've accomplished, because we're so busy making sure everyone else is okay.
Right.
I think it's so important, and I am guilty of this, that we celebrate the milestones, no matter how big, how small. We have to set aside time or create space to celebrate ourselves. And I really, really appreciate you providing a platform for us to celebrate ourselves and celebrate each other. I think that's important.
Yes, absolutely. When God brought this to me and I shared this with individuals, I was in a very dark place. I was depressed. I was trying to figure out life. I didn't know if I was going or coming. I was just in a whirlwind. Yeah. And I was laying in bed and God was like, do this. I'm like, who? How? Me? The way I am right now? Not knowing that this is what I needed for myself and something to provide for other women, because
Yes.
many times we try to, and I hate to say this, fit in. We try to fit in places where we don't belong. And if we just trust God and let Him use us, He is going to allow us to build whatever it is that He has put us here on earth to do. And He'll bring the individuals who are supposed to be a part of what He has given you. And I'm sure you could testify to that as well with your businesses.
Man, that's a whole other subject. But let me say this, coming from me, a person that has never really wanted to fit in, but you still have those thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes having the goal of fitting in can be the discouragers, because really they wouldn't understand your purpose or your vision. And sometimes in certain groups, different ones, and I know what those groups are, you would know what your groups are. They can only speak to their own experiences. That's all that they can give you is their experiences or someone else's, and that's kind of secondhand information. And if their experiences have been, I tried a business and it failed and I'm never going to do that again, and I'm never, it can be a lot of information that you really don't want in your spirit on your journey. So you just have to kind of say, this is probably not a good conversation for me right now. You have to protect your purpose, protect your vision, and protect your heart. Like, you can't let those types of seeds take root.
Absolutely. Now I'm in this place, and that you touch on that. It's like this season of my life is kind of a hidden season. Like, yeah. I'm out. People, my people, I do my day to day. I network still, but I'm in a place of hidden. Like, you see me, but you don't really know what's going on. Like, God is really doing something with me and through me in this season. It's like, you can't share everything. You can't go everywhere. You can't speak everything that I give you. And it's to protect me, what you just said, to protect your spirit, to protect the things that I know I believe. I know I hear what He's telling me. And I know these things are going to happen.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Finding your tribe. So your tribe will find you. You all will find each other.
That's it. Look, if you don't find nobody, talk to Jesus. That's what my grandmother used to say.
Yes.
Just talk to Jesus. He's always available.
Yeah. You know what? As I was reading your bio too, and I know this from watching you in person, online, you are a family-oriented individual.
Absolutely.
I love that about you. So one of the questions I have is, family seems to be at the core of everything you do, which it is. How do you ensure that you maintain a strong connection with your loved ones alongside your busy and demanding schedule?
Yes, so family is absolutely a priority, not only for me, but also my husband. We'll be married 5 years this year. One thing that I can share is my husband's ex-wife passed away also. So our children are dealing with similar grief. They had a mother that passed away. My kids had a dad that passed away. And then Andre and I are dealing with our own grief because both of us also had spouses that we spent a lot of years with, and they passed away. So there's grief for us, grief for them. And before I met Andre, of course, when my ex-husband and I got divorced, I can honestly say I really did not understand the impact of not having him in the house would have on my children. I didn't grow up with a dad. My mom was a single mother. So I didn't fully take that into consideration because it had not been my experience. Mm-hmm. For them, it was the worst thing ever for their dad and I to get a divorce. After he passed away, it was just, I just, of course, the pain was devastating, and we're all still working through it. But the way that we keep um, connected and have transparent conversations about our emotions, about grief, how we're feeling, not only for my three, but also Andre's two, which we all come together. We are a blended family. We create a space that's safe to have a discussion about how you're feeling. And of course, as you know, individuals grieve differently. So some are willing to talk about it, some aren't. Some, sing about it, some write about it, some talk about it. It's just different. So we intentionally, number one, we have committed, and I don't know how much longer we're going to do this, so I'm sure our kids will see it. We were doing a family trip every year, but our girls are almost 30, and I think this is getting old. So, but it is a time for us to just kind of leave everything else behind and just enjoy each other's company and spend time together. And, when I say team building, like we're a team, and Andre and I want to be a safe place for our kids to always come to at any time. When I say come to, not come back to live. Of course, we're safe, to come visit, but we don't want them to come back to live. But when I say come to, just to come to have conversation, to talk things through, like, we want them to be able to tell us anything that they're willing to share. I'll just say that. And not only the trip, but we just like on Sunday, we created a movie night. Like, I sent out a text and I said, hey, movie night, we're watching The Color Purple. So all the kids came over and we watched Color Purple and just spent time together.
Yes.
So we just create time. It doesn't get, I'm sorry.
No. I was absolutely, that's great.
I was going to say, what hospice has taught me is that, I don't want to take anything for granted. So it's not a struggle for me. My family is important to me. And thank God at this point, we have built Star of Texas to the point where we have staff that can go out. We still go out. But family, if my family needs me, this is my priority for sure.
Absolutely. Yes, and I love that. And I have to say that right now I'm in a season of, I hate to say grinding, hustling, but it's like foot is to the cement, because I know that I have a growing daughter who's going to need my time and attention, and I want to be there for her. Individuals like, why are you doing this? Why are you working so hard? And again, this is conversations that I have with God. I'm doing what He is telling me to do.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen the things that He's shown me to come. So I was like, okay, I have to do the hard work now.
Absolutely.
I have to do the hard work now. And a previous pastor of mine told me, he was like, Shakita, you can't bypass the hard stuff. He said, do the hard stuff. He said, and I was like,
that's wisdom.
We doing hard stuff. Why do I have to do hard stuff? But now I love a challenge. let me watch my words, because how things come upon. But now it's like, okay, hard work and dedication is what's gonna get you to the level, and to pull, and it separates you. Hard work separates you.
100%. You do not have time for much else. You're working and you're taking care of your baby.
That's it. That's all I have time for. That's all I have time for. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way, because one, it's really showing me tenacity, and it's showing me how strong I really am as an individual. And then the things that, and then faith level, different life challenges happen. Faith always increase. So I'm like, okay, hard work. And I know my time is going to come to where I am going to be at everything and have time and to sit and relax. But right now, it's doing the hard work.
Absolutely. And your daughter is seeing you. Like, I fully believe that, Pastor Hillary used to say, more is caught than taught. If you
Mm.
don't say a word, she's watching you. She's watching how hard you work. She's watching the things that you do. That's invaluable. It's priceless.
Yes, it is. You know what? This morning we had a conversation on the way to school, and I looked over at her, and she just looked so tired. I was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm tired." I was like, "Do you need to take a break from anything?" Because she's doing everything. She's
Yeah,
not missing a beat. All her grades are up to par.
I
She's
love it.
volleyball, basketball, now into track and field. Like this girl doesn't let up. And I'm like, are you working this hard because you see me working this hard? And
I
she
love
didn't
it.
answer me, even though I knew the answer.
Yeah,
And I was like, but mommy wants you to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health first.
absolutely.
I said, if you
That's
need a break, yes,
important.
let me know. Because guess what? I know you see me go hard, but trust me, when I break, and I don't want I
Then
don't
you're
want you to burn out.
absolutely.
But she has a goal. She was like, no, I'm gonna finish. My break is gonna be summer. And when she said
I
that,
love
I
it.
was like, that's my girl. She
I
she
love
said
it.
she's gonna finish it out and she was gonna break for the summer. So guess what? When
Yeah,
summer comes and she doesn't want to do anything, I'm not gonna bother her.
nothing. Absolutely.
I'm not
Absolutely.
gonna bother her.
I love
So
it.
let's see here where we are. So we talked about family. We talked about your faith and your journey in regards to you going through life and being an entrepreneur. Now I want to ask you a few questions in regards to. And we just talked about mental health. How do
Sure.
you prioritize self care and maintain a healthy work life balance while juggling your professional and personal responsibilities?
Wow. It's a challenge. It's kind of like I would put it in the same category of celebrating one's self. I have to purposely make myself do it. And that's such a shame. Like I'm not proud to say that. Um, when I do, I will cut it off and I'll say, okay, this day I'm scheduled to get a massage, relax, do yoga, all these things I love to do. You know, get a massage, a facial. I wish that I could do it on schedule,
Mm-hmm.
but my life is not set up that way right now. But for me, wellness is my way of relaxing. If I can do a yoga class, get a massage, get a facial, and just relax in silence, that refuels me and rejuvenates me, just leaving me to my thoughts. And a lot of times I'm thanking God for everything. um, that's my time. And traveling, I
Yes.
don't do as much as I want to, but even with as mothers, as business owners, for me, 1 hour in the car just to relax. It doesn't have to be anything that costs. Just have a relaxing moment in the car to just clear my mind. That to me helps me with my mental health.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you shared something, driving the car, peace and quiet. This morning, even after dropping Cassie to school, I got back home. I sat in the car and I just stayed there.
Yeah,
I put the windows down. It felt so great this morning. And I put the seat back just a little and I heard the Lord say, sit here.
I love it.
And I sat there for about 20 minutes
Yeah,
with some worship music on, and
that's great.
I was like, you know what? And I heard this loud and clear. Before the world puts its demand on you today, sit with me.
I
I was
love
like,
that.
okay.
Amazing.
And
That's
it was so profound.
sure.
It was so profound. And I was like, okay, I need to do this more.
Sure.
I need to do this
Absolutely.
more often. And it was just 20 minutes. It was just 20 minutes of
Those little snippets of time. Yeah.
this. And I
Take
was
advantage of them.
okay. And then, of course, after that 20 minutes was up, that phone, ding, 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 ding. Yeah. It was like
Absolutely.
he was preparing me. Little did I know to
For
just
your day.
be in stillness because I knew that I was about to hit the ground running.
Sure.
Yes, so
Absolutely.
those moments, and I would encourage you to take those moments often.
I know.
Take those
I
short
have got to
moments
do
often.
better. I've got to do better. And thank you for the reminder.
Yes,
I'm conscious of it, and now I'll say, okay, I'm doing this, and of course get busy and start doing something else. But I am going to make it a priority to prioritize myself.
that's right. We have to because we are so active in our family lives,
Absolutely.
in business. It's like, okay, we're taking care of everyone else. Who's taking care of me?
That is so true.
Like, but
So
who is gonna take care of you like you really want to be taken care of besides you?
true. This, you are your advocate.
Yes,
You are your advocate. That's it. No one is going to advocate for you like you. Bottom
absolutely.
line. And I have an amazing husband, and I have to advocate for myself with him. That's
Absolutely,
yeah.
yes. Because it falls to self. It falls to self
Yes.
aware and what you need. And we're very grateful for the people that add to us. But it's like, okay, I need to fill myself up right now. What do
Yes.
I need to do to fill myself up? If that's
Absolutely.
putting that phone down for 5 minutes, going outside and stretch. That's what we're gonna do right now in this
Yes.
moment. I catch
Absolutely.
myself honestly when I'm traveling a lot. I would really just pull to a parking lot and just sit because I'll get so flustered. And the people that know me, I hate being in traffic. I strongly dislike traffic. I get anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. I let me tell you, if I'm in traffic, I am relaxing. I'll put
What?
me some music on, and I was like, well, I mean, really, I'm not
Oh,
gonna get any closer by being upset. So let me just go ahead and sit here.
God bless you. I'm pulling over. I'm like, okay, where we going? How far we gotta go? Like, do I really have to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yes, awesome. Oh, so this is one of my favorite questions,
Okay,
and I'm pretty sure because I always like as we're giving our flowers to one another, taking this time to reflect. And even though I know after this segment, our wheels are still going to be turning
sure.
into the things that we could have said, would have said, wish we would have said. But as the journey goes on, I do want to give you the opportunity to give other individuals their flowers here as well. So, who are some women in history, figures that inspire you, and why?
Okay. Well, I would have to say, what I choose to do with my moment is just celebrate the women that did help me in my journey.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll just because it was so personal for me and I needed it at that moment, I don't think that they understood what I was going through at that point. And all I can say is they chose to obey God
Mhm.
and give me an opportunity. One of the young ladies is Dee Green, and she was the director at Memorial Hermann. She interviewed me for the position, fresh out of nursing school. I interviewed with her 15 minutes. I had my salary in my brain that I was going to ask for. She asked me, what are your salary requirements? I wrote it down for her, and she said, "Oh, I'll get you more than that." And she said, "That's it." I mean, I walked out at 15 minutes. That was the interview. That was the total length of the interview. She called me back maybe within 30 minutes, and she got me more than what I asked for.
Wow.
And that started my 7-year journey with Memorial Hermann. She ended up leaving probably a couple of months later. So I do want to appreciate that at that point. I was working at the other company, but the lady that had hired me there left. So she was not there anymore. And So D Green was very instrumental at that point in getting me what I felt was a very good opportunity, and kind of solidified this role for me, like a clinical liaison. It was a clinical marketing position, which encompassed something that was rare. You have a clinician as an RN, but you also have marketing, and that allowed me to request more, I guess, as far as salary is concerned, after leaving there, which I started Star Texas. But so definitely D Green, of course, Satavia. There's a backstory to Satavia, and I was going through a divorce when I met her, when I got the position. And a part of the marketing at that point, they would want us to take the doctors out to eat, drinking on happy hour and things like that. And I didn't say to her, but I was like, oh, well, this is not going to be a job for me, because I'm not, it's going to take these people out drinking. I have 3 kids. I have to be at home. It just wasn't for me. So I went and found another job. And of course, like I said, the hospice world is small, and someone must have told Satavia, because I ended up getting the other job. And Satavia called me in probably about 2 or 3 days later, and she said, hey, come and talk to me for a minute. And I said, yeah, what's up? And she said, well, word on the street is you got another job. And I said, yeah, I was going to tell you, but yeah, I got another job. I cannot, I have 3 kids. I cannot be taking people out to happy hour. It's just not a thing. And my son was probably 3 or 4 years old at that point, my youngest son. And she said, well, you know what? I don't want to lose you. Like, I want you to stay here with us. So I will hire you an assistant that can go and entertain the doctors and entertain the nurse practitioners, and I'll give you a $10,000 raise. So, the people need to be celebrated. Those are things that were impactful in my life at very pivotal moments when I needed it. So definitely, I can do nothing but appreciate that. When someone helps me, they're also helping my children.
Absolutely.
And if you help me and help my children, you are always have a place in my heart. Like, there's nothing that I would not do for you. That's just what it is. So I can just say those 2 ladies were definitely instrumental in my journey. They're a part of my story, and I will give them their flowers. I probably do it more than they want to hear it, but I definitely appreciate them.
Awesome. No, that is great. And we definitely appreciate those individuals, because you really never know what someone is going through and how impactful they are in a time of need. And, and I'm sure those were answered prayers for you.
Absolutely. 100% for sure.
Yes. And you know what? And I have to say this, because, being a believer and being a Christ ambassador is when you're able to do good for someone, and you in position to use your power and authority to help another individual for the greater good. That is, even more on top to, like, okay, I want to do that for someone.
Absolutely.
And I catch myself now, I'm like, okay, how can I be like that for someone, how someone has been for me?
Absolutely. That is so true. Let me tell you one more thing that I think is, someone may be able to relate to. When I was telling you that I still had the house. Well, the neighborhood that we lived in, you have to pay for the trash quarterly in order for them to pick up your trash. So my neighbor, one of my other neighbors, knew that I was in nursing school and I wasn't taking my trash out because I wasn't paying the trash. I didn't have the money to pay it. And she came over one day and she said, you can bring your trash to my yard. And oh man, that just, again, these moments that God just lets you know that He is right there with you. You are on His mind. Um, my neighbor Florence, she's one of those that, she saw, she's very observant, and she was like, "You bring your trash over here. I noticed you hadn't been taking your trash out." And
Right.
I said, "Yeah, I haven't paid for it. I don't have the money." And she said, "Well, you can bring your trash over in my yard. I'm going to send my son over to get it." So that was very special to me.
Yeah, those small gestures,
Yes,
go a long way, go a very long way. Yeah, so kudos to those
absolutely.
women who have definitely made an impact in your life to where
Yeah,
you could remember, what may not be significant for them, but it was,
it's a
very
big deal
significant for
for me.
you. Exactly. So thank you to those women. Um, Last but least, I hate that we're wrapping it up because this is something that
I'm having so much fun.
this is something that I can do, and this is why I think I really enjoy doing it. And
Yes,
honestly, I got sidetracked it, and I'm so glad God was like, "Okay,
yes,
slow down. Here's what you need to do next." And I was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yes, we get to do it again," because I'm very intentional on what I do and how I do it, and the fact that he is allowing the podcast to come back and is
sure,
coming back with new women, fresh things, and where people get to
sure.
just share their story and we can just have fun and see that one, we can get along, we can uplift one another, we can
Absolutely,
encourage one another. Me
absolutely,
congratulating you is not going to take away anything from me, and vice versa.
absolutely.
And just being the forefront of that for women and women in business. So I'm very grateful. And I do want you to share one thing with our viewers.
Okay.
And with it being Women's History Month,
Mhm.
so how do you use your platform and influence to advocate for women's rights and advancement in your community or industry?
Got it. So, probably a couple of years ago, my mom passed away maybe 17 years ago now. A couple of years ago, I started the JRJ. JRJ is Jeanette Russell Jones, my mom's name, um, scholarship for single mothers. And I use that scholarship for mothers that are in high school that have children, and I give five $1,000 scholarships every year. And that's one of the ways. Um, I think, of course, it's on my heart. There are so many things that I've learned on this journey, and we can unpack it a little bit more when we're talking in person. But these experiences of how I feel as women, we are discriminated against. Um, it's just on my heart to advocate for women in that arena. I don't have it all figured out yet,
Mhm.
but I'm working on it. It's there. I just don't know how I get that information out. So, definitely, my mom was a single mother. I spent 8 years as a single mother. So that's near and dear to me. And I will always find a way to advocate for single mothers, give to single mothers, give financially, but also give advice, any wisdom or advice that I have. Keep in mind, everything that I did with Star of Texas, finishing nursing school, all of those things I completed as a single mother. I was not married at that time. So that's where my focus has been.
Mhm.
Secondly, I think women in business is definitely on the horizon for me. I just don't know how I will get that information out, but I just see um, just so many incidents that I would just have to have more time to talk about it. In the financial sector, in real estate, it's just, you a lot of times I'll just say this, it's hard to directly pinpoint, right? Because there are two things that we're dealing with. Number one, we're dealing with gender.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to pinpoint really which one it is, or it could be both. But there have been some experiences that I can say that have been undeniable. But the bottom line is you can't let it stop you, for one. However, there are things that you can do to, not prevent it, so to speak, but circumvent and work around it. I will just say that, and still get to your goal. So I hope I
Yes.
answered your question.
You did absolutely. Because one, and this is another reason and a part of the vision of Women with Vision and Purpose, because one, myself as a single mother, and I have installed my daughters, like, and you can testify to this as well. You have to secure your own bag. I don't
100%.
care who does what for you. I don't care who's, because you know what? And I have to say this because she's gonna see it one day.
Yes.
When you secure your own bag, you pick who can be a part of your life and not the
Absolutely.
other way around, because you
Absolutely.
feel like you need that individual because they have X, Y, and Z. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's another reason why my foot is always on the ground running. It's going to
Yes.
continue to be that way until God
Absolutely.
says otherwise, because I know the importance of relationships and the importance of having your own. And people are cruel, and of course, and then also not blaming people, but motives. You have to be aware of motives as well,
A lot of
because
people can be self-serving,
yes,
and you don't know what their plan is, but they're, saying, "Oh yeah, this will be great for you," when all the time it's great for them.
yes,
So you
absolutely,
are correct.
absolutely. And and I was just like, and picking friends,
Yes.
um that's all part of relationship and building. And when you have your own, you choose. You get to
So true.
choose. You get to choose. And that is so valuable for me. Because, and I'm not even gonna go there because we don't have time to go there today, but just being in circles because I didn't have this or didn't have that, and I thought I had to, and
Yes.
I did it, but that's what was presented to me. And
Yeah.
but now that I learned better, you do better. And
Absolutely.
I know that, you know what, Shakita, go get your own and
Yes.
be content with what you have, and God's going to provide more. He's going to show you how to
Absolutely.
multiply it and do what he needs to do. And just listening to your story, I'm so glad that we were able to go in depth into your story. I
Sure.
think this has been a perfect time for it,
Sure.
because one, I feel like we have to grow into who God has called us to be. You
So
know,
true.
it doesn't happen overnight. It's not gonna happen the next day. Like say, Rome wasn't built in a day. And
No.
we're still growing. You're still growing into the woman God
Yes.
has called you to be. You're still
Yes.
learning new things about yourself, about business, and
Yeah.
your story has really been very impactful to me because one, to know that you were raised by a single mother, that you were a single mother for the years that you were, that God provided you with the home, with, I
Yeah.
mean, like, who does that? Only Him, only God.
Let's go to the basics with food. With food for me
Yes.
and three kids.
So just hearing
Absolutely.
that and seeing where you are today, most up respect, because you are a very humble
Thank you.
individual. You're always smiling. You bring positivity.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I appreciate that you're coming on here to share your story. And I know it has touched not just myself, but other women, because we go through life and we don't really share because we think people are gonna judge us.
Yeah.
But no, our trials are our testimonies that people,
Yeah.
hey, if you know what, and I have to say this, like, why not me? Why can I not have? Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? If God did it for that person, he could do it for you.
100%.
But what separates is the faith and the belief and the hard work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes,
Tapping into the favor of God. But in order to do that, you gotta have faith. You gotta go out and meet people and talk to people and, you know, ask them. I mean,
that's
really, when I went to the Urban League, they very well could have said, no, we have nothing for you. That's
mhm,
not going to happen. You may leave now. But they did. And if they did, I would have just said, okay, no worries. This is not my yes. I
that's
need to
right.
go somewhere else.
That's right.
So,
Next, and there's someone out there waiting for you. That's why I tell individuals who come, for me for advice or any type of mentorship. Someone is waiting for you to say yes to what God has called you to do.
yes,
Someone is
absolutely.
waiting. There's a line of people waiting for you to say yes.
Absolutely.
And I think about this all the time. What if I would have talked myself out of starting Women with Vision and Purpose? Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to be on here with you to share, listen to your
absolutely.
story, for other people to be encouraged. We wouldn't be able to have the things that we're doing. So I'm very grateful that we
Absolutely.
had this time. I can't wait till March 30th. So when we have our live Q&A session,
I'm ready.
and where you'll be able to share your story in more detail and just to love on the women. 'Cause I know you're going to be very impactful to them, and I know you're going to bring, of course, knowledge and wisdom that you
Right.
can share in your industry, that people who are seeking to become a woman in business or just seeking
Yeah,
for
just in general.
professional and personal development. That's something that
Absolutely.
we are huge on here. So, Miss Sherron Johnson, thank you for your time. You
Thank
all,
you.
thank
It's
you
my
for
pleasure.
this. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it so much. Thank you all for tuning in. So, we are celebrating Women's History Month the whole month of March. We will be on every Friday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, whether it's myself or another woman in business. But just having girl talk, just encouraging one another, uplifting one another, and one celebrating us, celebrating
Yes.
for being a woman in business
Yes.
who hasn't given
Absolutely.
up and who's keep going so we could share our story with you all. See you all next time. You can reach us at www.vp.online, where you can find all the information of what Women with Vision and Purpose has going on. Stay tuned. See you all next week.
Thank you.